Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of August 2nd, 2015. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. This week, right off the top of the week, we have got Saturn standing still in the sky and beginning to go forward. So whenever a planet is standing still and preparing to change directions, it's when its energy is at its most potent. And it's when the proverbial penny drops, if you will. We understand how we can utilize that energy to maximum effect and to maximum blessing. So since late 2012, Saturn has been moving through the sign of Scorpio. This is one of those last power moments of Saturn in the sign of Scorpio for many, many years to come. And this is when it's going to feel like a lot of the lessons are going to come together and we finally understand how to manifest. And this very likely will also allow us to understand the blessings. How is it that Saturn has been trying to bless our lives? Well, it becomes very clear, much more clear than it might have otherwise been, thanks to Saturn standing still. Just that act of standing still allows us to not only consider, but just like Saturn moves forward, we too will be ready to move forward as well. What is also amplifying this energy actually and adding an element of overconfidence as well is Jupiter. Jupiter is speaking with Saturn now as part of a major conversation actually. And this conversation has to do with over-optimism on the one hand, yes, but it has to do with us as a collective looking at what it is ultimately that comes down to money and power and where it is that something more essential or more beautiful needs to allow to be shined, needs to be able to shine that much brighter. Now, in an interesting observation that fellow astrologer made online, Adam Ellenbass, he said that the recent sort of headline grabbing news that we have been considering as a collective has to do with this beautiful lion, Cecil, who was killed recently. So this lion, very loved by the community, recently killed by somebody who paid a lot of money for the experience of and the power of being able to hunt a lion. And so this is a very interesting way that this particular conversation is playing out. Now, of course, there are going to be lots of different ways that this conversation plays out, but as a collective, I do think that given the preciseness early this week that this conversation is going to take, and you add to that a really active Mercury this week, a tremendously active Mercury this week, it suggests to me that this story is not going to go away. We're going to be talking about this a lot more, the ethics of it, how to create really meaningful change, and what ultimately is it in the world that we desire to magnify more of. All of these are going to be topics that we are going to be considering as a collective. Part of, as I said, the media is going to play a big role in this. The media is going to be talking about this in one way or another. These archetypes are going to be coming forward thanks to Mercury. Mercury will be speaking in supreme harmony with Uranus as the week begins, but then really very close to Jupiter. So we'll be speaking with Saturn as well. Also, we are going to have Mercury meeting Venus in the sky as well before moving on into the sign of Virgo. Now, Venus is this week also going to be meeting Jupiter in the sky. So these three planets traveling quite close together. Venus will be meeting Jupiter in the sky for the second of three conversations. So I've been talking about this as we've been going along. The first conversation happened the 1st of July. This is the second conversation. The third conversation will take place in October. I'll be here to talk about it then, of course. So this particular conversation says to me that whereas otherwise a Venus retrograde might be a little bit confusing, might be a little unsure, might be a little unknown, this adds an element of faith, of hope, of a sense of growth and expansion and just absolute healing energy coming in, especially where it comes to matters of heart. So I think a lot of people this week are going to find hearts open in at least one area of life. And again, connected to media activities as well. We'll see this as at a collective level as well. But I think a lot of people are going to find a certain compassion within them. And also, it's just going to be romantic is really what this comes down to. I think a lot of people are going to be very interested in connecting with others. So if you've already connected with people, you're going to be that much more motivated to keep that connection going. And if you haven't, chances are that there'll be lots of activities taking place for the people around us that let the universe know that they have a desire to meet up in meaningful ways. Now, Mars is going to, by the end of the week, Mars will leave the sign of Cancer and enter the sign of Leo. So this is amazing. So Mercury will leave the sign of Leo, enter Virgo, and we will have Mars leave the sign of Cancer, enter Leo. So this to me is going to magnify and really allow us to continue some of the understandings and integrate changes that Jupiter, moving through the sign of Leo, has been asking us to integrate. So this is a really great way, sort of like the cherry on top. We're still going to have, coming up very soon, middle of August, Jupiter will change signs. Jupiter specials should be up shortly if they're not already. They'll be up very shortly. And with this particular move, I think that we actually now are going to start to understand how Jupiter moving through the sign of Leo was meant to change us in meaningful ways. And we'll be incorporating that and running with that and being very empowered by those changes now. And Mercury coming home, one of the home signs of the planet Mercury is Virgo. And I think that this is going to allow us to see things a little bit more deeply, a little more analytically, and even, we could say, a little more quietly as well. And so communication isn't always just about what you're saying. It isn't just about what's happening on a level of media and sort of public discourse. But sometimes it's also about what is and what we are seeking to understand that much more deeply as we attempt to make connections between the wisdom of the body and what it is that the mind knows as well. The strength and gift of the intellect really being grounded in a very deep understanding that allows true clarity to take place. Well, thank you so much for watching that introduction. Truly so grateful for it and so grateful for this moment with you. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, thumbs up, whatever it is, to positive energy. I know you guys send so much my way, and I'm so very grateful for it. I'm always reading your comments. I love our interactions, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, my website, nadiyashah.com, and the YouTube comments as well. I don't get a chance to reply to every single one, but I am reading you guys and love that you guys do trust me, are asking me lots of questions and considerations and feedbacks. I love it all. Thank you so much. Sometimes I'm asked questions that are a little bit more personal, that have to do with your unique situation. If that's the case, please do consider a personalized horoscope where I can do just that. Look at your unique situation. Now, recently I added 3 new areas of focus, and that is luck and love, luck and success, and also life purpose. So along with the traditional different areas that I was offering as well. And of course, custom made to whatever your unique situation as well. I want to say thank you for watching Synchronicity University. Thank you for your support of the hard copy of my book. So grateful for that. But of course, the most important thing, and especially in this moment, the fact that you're here, the fact that you're watching truly is so meaningful to me. Thank you so much for that. I just really believe that everything I share, everything I put into the world is about affirming that the universe is wise and loving. The universe is wise and loving. That is the whole point behind everything that I put into the world, to affirm that in the universe. And I'm so grateful that you are here to watch this video that I hope in some way serves as an omen, an inspiration, or reminder of this, what I consider a sacred truth as well. Well, how all of this wonderful stuff happening this week speaks to you and your sign is coming up right now. Oh, before I do just want to say, I want to send out a reminder that August 19, August 19, I will be giving a talk at Lilydale Assembly. So excited about that. I'll have copies of my book on hand to sign as well. And I'm really looking forward to that. Really so honored, the very prestigious Lilydale Assembly in New York State, being able to speak there, speaking about making the best choices with astrology, and looking forward to meeting friends and fans out there and just being part of a very healing, sacred space, and hopefully contributing to a space that we create together as well. Okay, thank you so much. And how all this wonderful astrological stuff this week speaks to you and your sign is coming up right now. Hello, fabulous Aries. This week, your ruling planet Mars will speak in supreme harmony with Saturn. So while all these other planets are having conversations of tension with Saturn, here comes your ruling planet having a conversation of supreme harmony before changing signs. So wherever Mars goes, so goes your energy. And whenever Mars changes signs, it is as if something within you goes through a shift as well. Goes through a shift of energy, a shift of focus, and a change in understanding of what it is ultimately that needs your most immediate, most urgent, but also more pressing attention at that. And so it's almost as if what you're most interested in and what you got to do changes gears, and how you approach your life changes gears as well. So it has with you and starts with you the smart choice. That's really what this comes down to. Mars speaking with Saturn is about understanding ultimately what it is that is going to be smart and is going to create greater strength and stability for the bigger picture, whether that bigger picture is for the next couple of weeks or that bigger picture has to do with for the rest of your life. When it comes to Saturn, we really think about the long term. We're not just thinking about what's going to work right now, but we're thinking about what is it that's going to work in the big picture of your entire life in some cases. So it does look like a major decision and a major understanding of where and how you can create greater stability, be the adult, be the mature one, but also create greater strength and empowerment for yourself is going to become very clear to you, and a reward should be pretty much immediate based on that as well. And then of course, Mars changes signs, moving into supremely harmonious placement for you, moving into fellow fire sign Leo. I think this is going to be great for you. This is going to allow you to feel the love and feel a sense of fun and feel a sense of excitement, a sense of movement in your life as well. I think that this is going to help you to really continue to garner favor from the energy that you've been going through as Jupiter has been moving through this very same part of the sky, really extending the blessings and being changed that much for the better by what it is that you most want to do now. Hello, fabulous Taurus. This week we have got your ruling planet meeting Jupiter once again. Speaking with Saturn as well this week. And so these very interesting conversations taking place with Venus. Venus speaking with Saturn, part of a second of 3 conversations, meeting Jupiter in the sky, the second of 3 meetings in the sky as part of her forward, backward now, and eventually forward movement. So I look at this and it suggests to me that you are in some way making a tough decision in love. You're having a bit of a wake-up call maybe in love as well. And you're having to really step up to the plate in some way, decide what the right thing is to do, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if you'd rather not do it. And this ultimately is designed to get you to be more ethical in all matters of heart and all matters of money as well. With Jupiter meeting Venus in the sky, it suggests to me that there's a bonus there. It suggests to me that there's a blessing there as a result of stepping up to the plate. It might be a little uncomfortable. It might be coming out of your comfort zone as part of this, but certainly you can meet that challenge. Now, this is Venus after all, okay? So with Venus, there's love, and this is goddess of love energy playing out. And this has to do with really understanding where you have been, seeing where you have been with a different lens as well. And really being honest with yourself, like what was your part in what took place before, in some cases long before, and what is it that you took on, wasn't really your fault, that now you have to admit to yourself that, you know what, I took on something that wasn't mine to carry, and to admit that to yourself as a way to create meaningful change going forward, and also as a way of welcoming in greater love. Hello, fabulous Gemini. This week we have got your ruling planet Mercury very active in the sky. speaking with all kinds of power players, as I spoke about in the introduction, which suggests to me for you a busy week. First and foremost, it is a busy week for you. You're thinking about and really taking action. There's lots of movement. There's lots of spontaneity being asked of you as well. But in the process of all of this, and especially early in the week, you're spurred on. There's lots of positive energy before you feel a little bit limited. You might feel like someone's putting on brakes, and it doesn't necessarily feel so great, but it's okay. It's just a temporary feeling. It will pass. You've got Jupiter with you. You've got Venus with you, which says to me that you're feeling the love, you're feeling the faith, you're infused with hope at that. And it really is going to be conversations that help you tremendously this week to find a sense of your own clarity and to really tap into the more positive energies available to you. Because if you let it, with Saturn speaking to that Mercury, it can be a downer. I'm going to be honest with you. It can feel like you can't get what you want. It can feel like sometimes some authority figure is holding you back from doing what you really want to do. It needn't be that way. Instead, tap into that power of that Jupiter. Know that great things are possible for you. Have faith, and also take action from that place. Take action from that place that knows something about yourself, that knows that you can work on your own behalf and make amazing things happen. And as a result, it's very likely, and especially when it comes to your finances, you're very likely to make some choice, some move that creates greater stability for yourself, especially financially, that ends up improving many areas of your life as well. Where it comes to love this week, really the power is in talking it out. That's where Venus is meeting Jupiter, Venus retrograde, part of the larger Venus retrograde lessons playing out. That really is where your power is. So talk, meet people, be busy. A romantic moment with a neighbor, very possible right about now. If you're in an established bond, this really is words magnifying the love between the two of you. Hello, fabulous Cancer. This week, Mars will leave your sign. This is awesome. Mars moving through your sign can be really empowering, can help you to feel a sense of your own strength, to feel a sense of your own desire to move your life forward, to move your life in a positive direction at that, to fight for something that matters to you, which is great. But Mars can also be a little frustrated, can also feel irritated, can also feel like there isn't that accurate perception, a more balanced perception sometimes with Mars of how things might actually be working to your advantage in ways that you're not necessarily readily appreciating. So when we've got this kind of sky playing out, it suggests to me that there is a need for you now, yes, take action, especially in the early part of the week, even when it feels a little hard, even if it feels like your best actions aren't garnering that many results. I actually think that if you tap into that Mars, this last stretch of Mars through your sign, that is when you are really going to experience positive growth. And that's thanks to Mars speaking with Saturn. So make sure wherever it is, you're being very proactive, you're taking action. Wherever it is, you're not just talking, you're not just about, okay, well, I love to do it, so that should be enough. No, actually go out and do it. That's Mars. Find a way to take some tangible action, and it will be very quickly rewarded at that. When it comes to love this week, so much of love and the journey in love for you is going to come down to self-value. How do you value yourself? How do you see yourself? And there's very likely to be some moment that asks you to clearly state, okay, this is the line for me. This is how much I love myself. And very likely to be inspired by another person, whether it's somebody new or in an established bond. You may very likely have to be very clear, if only for yourself, that this is something that is acceptable and this is something that's not really working. And that understanding is rooted in a real sense of self-value. Once you make that clarity, you're going to find that love and your ability to receive love is able to flow that much more readily. Hello, fabulous Leo. The party is in your sign. The party is in your sign. And this is thanks to Mercury and Venus meeting Jupiter in your sign. And before the week is out, Mars will move in as well. So this is going to be one of those rare moments, one of those rare times for many, many years to come. The last moment that we are going to have Venus meeting Jupiter in your sign. So it'll be a long time well into the future before this happens again. It marks a time of tremendous charm, tremendous beauty, and tremendous opportunity as well in the context of love. In fact, especially where it comes to revisiting what was, revisiting an understanding of what it is that makes you uniquely beautiful, of where it is that you find your own unique brand of charm. And wherever it is that you feel that your heart grows and expands, you will in some way find a reawakening taking place in those areas. But it isn't just about what's happening on a level of heart. What's happening on a level of mind is really important as well. Do be mindful, though, not to tell yourself that you can't do something that you really want to do or really feel called to do. There are always practical ways to move yourself in any direction you desire to go in life. In fact, I think that's one of the most sacred things about being a human being, and especially being a human being in the modern world, is that we have tremendous agency over our own lives, and that free will has never been more celebrated than it is right now, and more available to us to exercise as well. And this is something that's going to be very pronounced right now. So if you find any limitation, if you find anything happening, you've got to trust the wisdom of your life, trust your circumstances, and know that it's all part of the mystery that ultimately is moving you towards getting in touch with and tapping into your own power to move your life in any direction you choose. Before the week is out, Mars moves into your sign, and this is that power. This is the power of will. This is the power of knowing. This is the power of passion. Really asking you to take ownership and to just do what it is you can. To really say, you know what, I want change here. This is what I can do to affect the change I want, so I'm going to do it. This is an awakening on a level of body as well. So all of a sudden you're going to become really aware of yourself as a physical being in the best possible sense. Now, where it comes to love, of course, Mars moving through your sign can add a lot of passion, can make you very passionate as well, have a strong desire to connect with other people. So if you are in an established bond, that's great. You should have really heartwarming moments right now, even if you're dealing with realities that are uneasy, okay? Realities that might have to do with what was, that might have to do with the living situation. So even if there are these things playing out that are less than perfect, less than ideal, don't worry about it, because it does look like you find your way forward and you find your way towards believing that things can become even better, and they certainly can. And before the week is out, you are owning your power and you are feeling more alive than you have in a long time. Those of you open to meeting somebody new, especially, you've got lots of energy to actually go out there and make a connection happen. Hello, fabulous Virgo. This week we've got your ruling planet Mercury moving, speaking, conversating, connecting with a whole bunch of power players in the sky this week. Suggests an active week for you. Now, Mercury right now moving through a part of the sky for you, the sign just before yours, before moving into your sign. So it does look like a lot of the happenings are sort of behind the scenes, under the surface, and then Mercury enters your sign before the week is out, and you are finding a new clarity, finding a new purpose, getting in touch with an understanding of who you really are and what you really want. And it really is a matter of identity in some way. How do you most identify that's going to become crystal clear to you? It just looks like a part of you starts dancing inside is really what I see. And this is going to be a lovely preview for you because, as you know, give it just a little bit more time in the middle of this month, Jupiter is going to enter your sign. Now, Jupiter specials should be up shortly. Thank you so much to all the Virgos and people of all signs who've been asking me about that. Should be up very shortly. Before that happens, very likely this week. So be open and celebrate all the things that are coming up for you now. And I think Mercury is going to start giving you that little bit of a preview. It's going to start having you get clear on a level of mind of where it is and what it is you want to magnify within yourself. And it's going to have you talking about different things. It's going to have you feeling more awake as well than you have in a while. When your ruling planet comes home to your sign, it tends to be a time when you start feeling just more comfortable being who you are. And I think this is going to be so welcome. after Mercury being so active in the sign just before yours. There's still lots of activity taking place in that part of the sky. I think all that activity happening under the surface in the dream space, on an energetic space, now is slowly going to start to raise and slowly start to come to greater consciousness, which is going to be a place that's going to allow you a greater clarity and a greater sense of self-possession than you felt in a while. When it comes to love, it really is about what's happening behind the surface. It's about what's happening, in some cases, behind closed doors, maybe doors that are closed to you as well. And what I mean by that is, I think you might find yourself actually having some pretty vivid dreams about people that you really don't want to be having those dreams about. That's at the very least. And that might not necessarily mean that it needs to become anything romantic or you need to do anything about it. And in fact, I think the omens are pretty strong. If you're one of those people who has a dream about somebody, and you feel like, oh my God, I think I love this person, or I meant to love this person, or whatever, might not be the best move to actually do anything about it, especially not now, because your feelings might change. If you are in an established bond, I do think that that could be part of the discomfort if you end up having a dream about somebody you really shouldn't. But another way that this energy can play out is that quietness, is what's happening behind the scenes, and just wanting to carve out a space that is only for the two of you. And if you're open to meeting somebody new, any connections that happen this week are going to be based on what has been put into place long before. And so it's going to be based on whether other people are making hookups happen for you behind you knowing about it, without you knowing about it, or all of a sudden attracting somebody who presents themselves as a secret admirer, not knowing who this is. All of these become possible with the energy this week. Hello, fabulous Libra. This week we've got your ruling planet Venus meeting Jupiter in the sky, speaking with Saturn as well. So this meeting with Jupiter in the sky, I really like. It's in a part of the sky for you that has to do with friendship. I know I've been talking about this as we've been going along, because Venus is going to be here, hanging out here for an unusually long time. So you are going to want to watch your Venus special horoscope that I did for this summer, special horoscopes, looking at this Venus retrograde. Having said that, what I really love about this week for you is that you are being asked to take a really honest evaluation, and you seem to be able to approach it with such a sense of clarity and such a sense of understanding that I think it might impress even you at that. And so there's a real sense with you now and a real desire within you now to understand what's happening on levels of heart, but also to connect with other people in a very genuine way. And that will ensure that you're actually doing the work, getting out there, being social to make those connections happen. We also have Mars moving through a part of the sky that has to do with career this week, and speaking in supreme harmony with Saturn. This is really great for some career and financial victory showing up for you. Some tangible progress, some real progress manifesting that helps to create greater prosperity for you, and also a greater sense of achievement, a greater sense of progression, a greater sense of moving up that ladder of success. Where it comes to love, it is really all about being social. So be with your partner in the company of other people. Find a way to connect with this person on a level of mind to fortify that connection, even when it feels hard. And when you are, if you're open to meeting somebody new, the number one advice I can give you with Venus speaking with Saturn this week is you got to trust your intuition. If something doesn't feel right, you know, if you're seeing tan lines on a certain end, if something doesn't feel right, which may actually end up being the case, is Venus square Saturn, honor that. You know, this is about you really not denying, not having a desire for love overshadow what it is that you evidently are seeing. So at least if you acknowledge to yourself what it is that you're feeling, what it is that you're seeing, you can make a decision with that much of a clearer perspective, meaning that you'll be that much more at peace with the choices that you make. Hello, fabulous Scorpio. This week, we've got Saturn standing still in your sign and going direct. This is huge. This is one of those last big hurrah moments for you. And we also have the universe kind of checking in with you, kind of asking you, okay, how do you really feel about how the last 2 years or so have gone for you? How do you feel now about your sense of happiness and the ownership that you've taken and you've manifested a life that feels more grounded, that feels like it makes you happy? How much are you actually on that plane? How much are you actually living in vibe with that or not? I think that a lot of Scorpios out there, I mean, I said in the introduction, this is the proverbial penny dropping. This is going to be especially true for Scorpios. Now, if you've been born, if you're one of those Scorpios born in the last few days of your sign, if you consider yourself sort of a late cusp kind of Scorpio, then this is especially going to speak that much more importantly to you. But all Scorpios should be feeling this energy. All Scorpios will be feeling like an exhale. We'll be feeling like finally things are going forward. Now, where it might not feel that things are going forward as quickly as you'd like, or necessarily not falling in line as you would necessarily like, has to do with area of career, okay? So yes, it looks like there's a lot of promises, but then you're looking at the reality, like, okay, what is being promised and what's being manifested? There's going to be that bit of a disconnect that you're going to have to explore. Or where is it? I actually think there are going to be some Scorpios out there who manifest something amazing on a level of career, but then say, is this what I really wanted to manifest? Is this what's really going to be going to make me happy? So you might have pursued something because it was a smart thing to do and pursued it with great dedication and great persistence, only to find yourself now saying, okay, wait a minute, this is sort of, I've been putting a lot of energy in a direction that ultimately isn't about what I really want to manifest in my life. And so that's going to be the clarity that you need. So welcome it when it comes, because there are a lot of people who don't get that clarity ever. So when that clarity does come, or get that clarity like way at the last 5 minutes, you know, so what you want is to embrace it, because it means if you're having that clarity, you're also going to be given the tools of how to move yourself in a direction that you really desire to go. But I think penny's going to drop, an understanding is going to happen that ultimately empowers you tremendously and allows you to manifest something that you really can be proud of, and something that you know is going to genuinely make you happy in ways that are more meaningful than what an outward appearance might necessarily be. Where it comes to love this week, you know, I actually think as I look at this that sometimes we go for things, you know, it's interesting, if I may share this. I'm thinking about how Freud, in one of his early theories, he talked about how everything we do is based out of libido. Every single thing we do is because we believe in some way it'll make us more attractive to other people. And then later on in his sort of contributions to our world, he talked about how it's not just about that, but he actually talked about another contradictory energy as well. But putting that to the side for a second, really, he talked about how everything we do ultimately in the early part of his career is to connect with other people. And so the accomplishments we pursue, the things that we desire to manifest, the things we think are worthy of dedicating our time and our energy to, so that they lead to a sense of success, and however we define that is rooted in our desire to be considered desirable, and however you understand that. So it tends to be as part of a complex sort of processes of our psyche. Having said that, when I look at the sky for you this week, I was reminded of this because we've got this, you know, interesting conversation playing out. And I think that you may actually end up manifesting something this week and realizing that I thought this was going to get me love. I thought that this is what I needed to do to actually have the type of pull, or be attractive, or be more lovable, or be somebody that could get approval from people who might not even be around anymore, who might not even be alive anymore. So this could actually be a very profound realization coming forward, where you realize something that you've chased for a really long time out of desire for love, out of a desire to be loved, ultimately is not really what matters. What matters is that you are sharing something and shining something that represents a love of what you are doing, and not necessarily for what you think you're going to garner from actually achieving something. And so as part of this, romance may actually be a part of this. Okay, so again, you might think by achieving something is going to make you more attractive, or by demonstrating something, by being held up in some way, by getting an award in some way that makes you more attractive to another person. But I think you'll find ultimately that sense of what draws people to you is something much deeper, and is something much more fundamental, not necessarily about anything that you are externally doing. So whether it's in an established bond or not, there is this clarity that is set to be made now that asks you to get happy and honest with yourself as the best way to attract love to you and to magnify and cherish the love that you have. Hello, fabulous Sagittarius. This week, your ruling planet Jupiter, we've got lots of stuff happening. We've got Venus and Mercury meeting your ruling planet. We've got your ruling planet speaking with Saturn, which suggests a busy week. Now, all of us are having a busy week in our own way, but for you in particular, we've got this really wonderful energy just growing, just magnifying, suggesting and saying that you are, yes, in some ways, you're really having reality checks. Might not always feel that comfortable, but nonetheless, you're sort of checking in with yourself and you're saying, okay, I get it. There might be, I got to be honest with you. You know, I'm always going to be honest with you. Right now, we've got Saturn in the sign just before yours. Now, this part of the sky has to do with secrets, okay, or things that you don't want to admit, you don't want to look at, things that you push down. And then we've got Jupiter and Venus and Mercury being messages and really coming to you. Venus being heart, all about seeing from a heart perspective. And these placements are happening in a part of the sky that is your home, right? It's very much about in your element that this is happening. So I look at this and it does suggest to me that it might be that you learn something that ends up leading you to say, okay, where now? And where do I go now with this information? What am I going to make of this information? What I find really interesting about this is that because Saturn is standing still and going direct, you know, ordinarily, if it was just Saturn speaking with Jupiter this way, I'd say, you know, check your sources. But Saturn is still in the sky and Saturn is moving forward when this is happening. So chances are, if you are one of those few Sages out there, particularly those of you born sort of towards the very end of your sign, it's more likely to affect, but all Sages will be experiencing this in some way or another. That message might come from within you, or it might come from an external source. And I actually think, as I look at the omens, that it looks pretty clear, in all honesty again, that the information, the realization, the revelation is an accurate one. It's a grounded one. It's really showing you the reality of a situation. So whether this has to do with you and your real motives for what you want to do in your life, whether this has to do with you really admitting the barriers to love, whether you've put them up, whether they actually exist with someone you've made a connection with, okay? And by barriers of love, like it might be from within you, but it might just be on a very literal level as well. You know, like maybe this person actually lives somewhere really far away and the whole visa thing is complicated. You know, it could be something like literally that is something that could be part of the equation as well. But these are going to be issues that are likely to be coming up for you. If you are in an established bond, there might be love a part of this as well, but this looks more like, yeah, information sort of coming forward that leaves you saying to yourself, okay, are we moving in the same direction? Do we have a same sense of values? Yes, but also where we're going literally as well in the world. And what I mean by that is if you have a really strong desire to move and explore and an adventure, but for whatever reason the partner can't do that, whether it's logistical reasons like immigration, as I said, or whether it's just that they don't want to, all of this now is going to have to be a part of what you're admitting to yourself as a way of moving forward, especially in the context of love. But putting the context of love aside, where it comes to you as well, you are going to have to deal with some of these issues having to do with travel, having to do with higher study, having to do with being honest with yourself about why you might want those things or might not want what it is that you don't want, as part of further clarifying your plan forward, as part of further clarifying what it is ultimately that is going to bring you that happiness, that openness, and that sense of adventure as well. I would also say with this, be mindful of, and I know I have a Sag right now very close to me, and as I'm doing this horoscope, I'm just realizing, oh my God, she just contacted me like literally just before I started this video about how she wanted to throw the baby out with the bathwater in a certain situation. And so that's what I would caution you against, considering this particular sky. So there might be a little feeling like you want to just burn a bridge and go a whole other way. And that's awesome, but you can do that in a way without, while still honoring some structures that might be there that ultimately are meant to help you to further succeed and to further create greater stability in your life. Hello, fabulous Capricorn. This week we've got your ruling planet Saturn standing still in the sky and moving forward. In some key way, you are going to be moving forward as well. You are going to be feeling a sense of energy and a sense of dedication to a path, and also a sense of achievement likely to come about as well. Now, it is going to require a little bit of an overreach on your part, and some will reward this, some might not, but you've got to decide the path that is right for you as part of making that attempt or making that reach at that. So we've got some really interesting energy playing out with this Saturn, speaking with Venus, with Mercury, and with Jupiter as well. This represents that overreach to me. This also, as I look at this energy, also speaks to, now ultimately these planets are in an interesting placement for you. Very soon Jupiter is going to change positions, and later this year we'll speak with Saturn, your ruling planet, again, but by then both of these planets will be in different signs. Jupiter will be in a supremely harmonious position for you, will be in a much more supportive space for you. But right now Jupiter and Venus and Mercury, for that matter, are in parts of the skies that have to do with finances, what's happening on financial levels for you, particularly things like large sums of money, okay, large chunks of money. Saturn moving through a part of the sky that has to do with friendships. Your friendships have been going through an evolution, cleansing of sorts, bursts of honesty of sorts, ever since late 2012. You know, you put this together, and this could be a friend, you know, maybe costing you some money is really what it comes down to. So just be aware of that is a potential. So if a friend comes to you wanting financial help, then just know that that's a gift you're giving, okay? Regardless of what they say, it is a gift that you are giving. What I really like about what's happening is that you are clear this week about that, thanks to Mars speaking in supreme harmony with that Saturn as well. So you're seeing your friend for who they are, and you're understanding how best you can take action in support of ultimately what aims your friend is going for, and deciding what's best in the context of a given situation. Now, Mars is sort of making its last stretch through your opposite sign, and this is really good for love, especially considering Mars is speaking in supreme harmony with Saturn, as I said. So this is really good just for love. If we're looking at love, if you're in an established bond, this is really feeling a sense of endearment, of friendship with the person that you are with. If you are open to meeting somebody new, this is tremendous support for having a connection take place through a social function or through a friend as well. So I love this week for you that we have that romance, and it's a stabilizing yet energizing type of love that very well could present itself to you right now, or that you are nurturing right now in the bond that you do have. And at the same time, you are finally feeling something within you shift, something of your energy moving forward in a way that I think you'll like very much. Hello, fabulous Aquarius. Well, before I step into this week, we've got some interesting things happening for you this week, but I just want to take you to last week. So last week we had a full moon happening in your sign. We also had your ruling planet Uranus standing still in the sky and going backwards. This week, early this week, we've got your secondary / traditional ruling planet Saturn standing still in the sky and going forward, going direct. So this, I think, is going to be a really dominant movement for you. You add to this the fact that in your opposite sign right now, we've got Jupiter, we've got Venus, we've got Mercury. So you are really having to consider your goals and where you're going in light of a partnership. So whether that partnership is a business alliance or romantic alliance, you are having to look at, okay, where is it ultimately that I'm headed, and how does this person fit into that or not fit into that as well? Now, what I find really interesting about this week and how it fits into last week is that it's so much about you, is really what it comes down to. You are changing. You are getting clear. You are lightening your load, letting go of blocks, whatever it is that's been getting in the way of you really being you, of really manifesting the things that matter to you as well. All of that, whether it's in body, whether it's in spirit, whether it's tangible reality, especially in terms of your career and the goals that you have, all of that is set to shift in ways that ultimately are going to empower you tremendously. I think that Uranus moving backwards for you is going to allow profound healing to take place, is going to allow the right conversations that really get to the core of any issues, emotional, physical, or otherwise, that really allow you to understand how meaningful change is going to take place in your life. And you add to this Saturn moving forward, you are ready to move forward. You are ready to reformulate and understand what's worth achieving for you. And I think that you now are going to be making some key adjustments that are going to allow really wonderful and big changes to happen for you. It's just in the context of partnerships and love that you want to be a little bit mindful. Where it is that you feel challenged about the goals that you desire, if it feels like a partner is challenging you, like, you know, oh, sort of being a little bit of a negative Nelly is sort of what I'm seeing, or Debbie Downer, however you want to conceptualize it, anthropomorphize it, as they would say. However you want to understand that, we do have this energy playing out with a partner maybe being a little bit of a voice of criticism, or, you know, trying to get you to sort of clear some rose-colored glasses a little bit that they might perceive you as. Don't worry about it. Your job really is to be connected to what is right for you, to be connected to what is true for you as part of moving yourself forward in a way that is clear, in a way that is purposeful, and doing what you need to do to accomplish goals that maybe other people don't understand, but you are ready to achieve. What I really love about this week for you is that connection to self, and is that connection to success as well. What kind of higher successes really are you going for? What is really going to matter? You get that clarity, you get that energy, and you reach for something and very likely manifest something truly special. Hello, fabulous Pisces. This week, we have got your ancient ruling planet, Jupiter, active in the sky now. Mercury, Venus hooking up, meeting, Jupiter in the sky. We've also got these three planets speaking with Saturn as well. So I look at this particular placement, particularly the fact that we've got this whole conversation for you playing out in a part of the sky that's asking you to pay attention to the day, okay? And then we've got Saturn moving through ultimately a really harmonious, through a harmonious sign for you, which has to do with fellow water sign, Scorpio. So this tells me that you'll be able to navigate this week better than some other people might. You add to this Mars being tremendously supportive of that Saturn. And it says to me that really it's by being practical, being reasonable, you being the stable one, right? No matter how people might perceive you as whatever, being out there, not being grounded, which is for some Pisceans, but other Pisceans can be truly very grounded, very passionate, very embodied people as well. But regardless of how others might perceive you, this is a time when I think you're really going to be able to get in touch with what you're most passionate about, what really is your creative force, if you will, in love or in the projects that you're working on. And you're able to take that and actually bring a sense of stability into your life as a result, and put a lot of the doubts aside. So it looks like there might be doubts around you, where it comes to particularly coworkers. So I would just be mindful not to share too much with your coworkers right about now, because as I look at the sky, it seems like you know your answers. You know what's right for you. You know what's going to make you happy. You know what's going to make you feel fulfilled. You know what it is ultimately that's going to bring greater stability into your life as well. But if you let it, other people's voices could dampen things a little bit. The other thing I want to say is if you are, experiencing and wanting to experience real healing and meaningful healing at that, this can be a time when that is available to you. But what you don't want to do is share with people I just have a feeling, I look at the sky and I think that you actually can experience really wonderful progress and healing on a physical level. But it does look like you might get some advice, especially earlier in the week. There might be some feedback or advice from somebody who you might even look at as an expert that kind of misses the mark. That isn't really what is going to empower you. So if that ends up being you, you've got to connect to something within yourself that knows that, no, that advice doesn't feel right. That's not really, they don't get it. And if you know that they don't get it, if you know that they're offering you something that ultimately is not going to be the solution you need, then it's okay to acknowledge that within yourself, and it's okay to get a second opinion as well. So I, as your astrologer, am giving you permission that if you get an opinion that doesn't resonate with you, you are allowed to get a second opinion. You are allowed to look elsewhere because your healing is there if you are one of those few Pisceans out there that might need that. But also be mindful of just bad advice that you might get right about now, especially when it comes to your health, a health practice that ultimately misses the mark for you. So just be mindful of that. As long as you're aware, you can make choices that ultimately are going to move you to a greater sense of well-being. Where it comes to love, be mindful of romances in the workplace. I've been talking to you about this as we've been going along, right? So this is really with Venus retrograde, all this activity happening in a part of the sky for you that has to do with the workplace. Be mindful of getting romantic with clients as well. But what is really interesting is we are going to have Mercury enter your opposite sign this week by the time the week is over. And I think this is going to bring forward a more chatty you, a more talkative you, especially where it comes to partners, whether it's a desire to connect with others. If you are open to love, the internet can be your great friend right about now. And if you are in an established bond, this can be a time when you're just able to give words to those things that you've been feeling for a while, but didn't know how to say. And that really can end up making a big difference and moving you that much closer to the other person. Well, thank you so much, everybody out there. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.